Hello, everybody. I guess I don't really how to. I never started any of these things. Well, Angel and I being Chris, I just came out of seeing Dunkirk in 70 millimeter, nonetheless.
Which you were very excited
I
about
was very excited,
beforehand.
very beforehand.
Wait,
Yes.
which one were you most excited for? The 70 millimeter or this movie because it was directed and written by Christopher Nolan?
The movie more because I didn't find out about the 70 millimeter until like um quite a while in when the movie was announced.
Okay.
So I learned about it very late, and that was just like a cherry on top. But I was very excited for this movie. The only one I think out of all
Yeah,
out of all the
yeah.
movies that I've seen, that's the one.
Mine was Baby Driver. Yours was this.
Yes, mine's what's this. First you start, because I feel like I was the most excited. I feel like I'll have a bit more to say. So we'll start with you.
Okay. And you like previous before I just saw. Well, actually, instead of avoiding all trailers, I just saw the first was a teaser.
Yes, where it was like under a minute, right? It was like around a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where all the only thing we see is it's the one trailer where we have all the soldiers looking at something and then you hear a bomb
Yeah.
and you hear the noise, which I thought was great. I thought that was I wish that would have been like the official trailer, just that. Okay, that's the only thing I knew about this movie
Right.
and who was directed by and all that. So I thought it was fine. I did not know what to expect because I just had no clue what I was getting myself into.
Yes.
Besides besides the director, who I've seen several of his movies that I really like. Yeah, but everything was just fine. Like the characters, I wish I cared about them more. The I thought the story of the 300,000 soldiers would have been something bigger or more gravitas, but it was not normal because it was fine. I maybe I could I maybe once you talk about it, I could give more insight, but my overall thoughts are just that it's fine.
Well,
Like sorry, but also just one quick thing I have to note. It's hard to recognize which actor is who in this movie. I don't know if you had that problem too, but I did.
not really. I could say the one thing I did notice is that it was sometimes hard to tell what they were saying. I don't know if you had that problem.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
And
that.
I was just like he's
Sometimes.
it's not that they don't speak clearly. It's just that the music kind of drowns it out. I'm gonna go speak up, and it's just like I can't really hear it. That was one issue. No, I knew who they were. So I really liked it. I was really looking forward to it. I think I've told you before that I knew as much as I knew about the movie through the trailers. I didn't do much in research until I think yesterday, where I kind of ruined the movie for me. Not ruined, but I spoiled it that I didn't know the movie was in three stories. One in the airplane, the boat, and then the kids.
Do you think you could talk about? Do you think you can talk about the movie without spoiling anything? If there is the spoil,
There is this.
but besides the outcome of the people who are involved.
Well, the reason I say is because it's like every Christopher Nolan movie where the structure is different narratively,
Okay.
and just by hearing that you should be like, oh, he's gonna do his thing, and he does his thing here, which I wasn't particularly expecting because considering it's a war movie, they're usually straightforward. It's just point A to point B, and linear, just straight. This was not it, and it took me by surprise. Only because I think maybe because it didn't remind me, but I thought of uh, Hacksaw Ridge in the sense that
War movie.
yeah, it's a war movie, and I'm thinking about other war movies, and I'm like, just A to B. We gotta go through this, and all that. So when I found that out, uh, before I saw him, it's like I was like, I didn't know it was gonna do that, and I was like, I wonder how he's gonna do it. And then when I saw it, I should. They make it pretty blatant. They don't hide it. It's just like right.
You literally find out. I
Yeah.
think like the first 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, like the first 5 minutes, you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
In a way, it makes sense.
It makes sense. I mean, in the sense that he lays it out like, here's what
Oh,
they
yeah.
expect.
He lays it out, but to me, it was hard to kind of keep up with what was going on in terms of the time. In terms of
Sorry, this is a bit sidetrack. You know how you mentioned you couldn't tell the characters apart? I didn't have the only thing I had difficulty telling things apart were the planes.
oh,
That was like I'm like which one's ours, which one's theirs, and then I like halfway through the movie I'm like all right, the ones that have the yellow colored nose, at the front of the plane, those are the evil ones. The ones that have the bullseye like in the back, that's ours. I'm like oh okay, because
we're easy targets.
They're
It's
easy
a
to-
metaphor.
yeah, but because it's all gray, so it's like until you see the yellow, and then they both have yellow, so it was made it hard to distinct. So it was just placement. Just FYI, just the ones with the yellow bullseyes. That's the British. Alright, that had to do with the what can I talk? Let's talk about the positive.
No, but do you want to go to positive and negatives, or do you want to go um, actors, plot, cinematography, nah, like that kind of structure, or do you want actually for people who don't know about 70 millimeter, like a lot of it? Do you want to explain that first before we get into it? Like this could help some people who don't know about
well,
it.
I'm not the best at that.
Oh,
I'll do the best
yeah.
I can. I'll just a preview. So we saw this movie in 70 millimeter, and it's in select cinemas nationwide. From what I've read, I've heard that the best way to watch this movie is in IMAX 70 millimeter.
So that's not what we saw.
We just saw 70 millimeter. The best thing is IMAX 70 millimeter. That's the best way to watch this movie, because it's like the best way I can explain it is like the Nintendo 3DS.
Yes.
You get a 3D without the 3D glasses.
Yes.
That's how that movie is in IMAX 70 millimeter.
So you don't need glasses.
You don't need glasses.
Okay.
And from what I'm hearing, that's the best way to see this movie, like the best experience. Obviously, not everyone's gonna go for that because that shit's expensive. And
the one we saw was like $17.
and just for 70 millimeter, not even IMAX.
Yeah.
Just for 70 millimeter. So. And then I'm pretty sure that people are gonna see this either if you're a Nolan fan, like, you follow his work, then you kind of educate yourself on 70 millimeter. But if you only like his works, but not an avid moviegoer, you just be like, oh, I'll watch this. So
a general moviegoer.
A general moviegoer, yeah, that's best to say. So this movie comes in like a whole bunch of formats: IMAX, 70 millimeter, 35 millimeter, and digital, and regular IMAX. The best way to say it is just kind of like music. There's vinyl, and then there's everything else. Those people who are really into vinyl, they're not hipsters. There's a reason why people like vinyl. It's because it has a richer sound.
Oh, okay.
So it's not clean. So it's the closest as you get as when the band recorded it.
Oh, okay.
Not including the editing that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's close to what the performance on. With digital, you lose some of that. You lose some because it's all binary. So and it can't contain all the information. So that's the biggest difference you see. And if you watch this movie in 7 millimeter, you have the best way you'll know it's film is the title screen. The title of the film, if it shakes, that's how you know you're watching film. And if you're watching in digital, it doesn't shake. It's very, very still. That's the most obvious thing. And then
the black dots.
And the black dots, you see scratches on film.
Which I thought was great.
Yeah,
If you notice that, I just thought like, oh yeah, film.
Yeah, it's a lot of film. Also, he did it with 7 minutes, so he captures a lot more of the landscape. So he really shows off the long shots, like just a huge frame of just nothing but like the beach, soldiers around. Like it's a pretty
Boats.
big. Yeah, the scale of the movie is pretty big, and
Mhm.
he uses the 70 minutes to great effect. Um, I've read that 70 mm also affects the audio because it's
Does it make it louder or
it makes
crisper?
it's kind of like analog where it's much more richer. I honestly couldn't tell you what uh, the the
Difference?
the difference in audio. I can tell you visually it
Mm.
looks very different. The one thing I will say, the colors are so much more not vibrant but lifeful,
Okay.
in the sense that there's a lot of blue in the film, and in film it captures like a very rich blue that you see, and it goes from like baby blue to dark blue to like a almost black, the blue there's, and in digital you lose some of that where it looks very sterile.
Sterile? Okay.
Sterile is the other word. Apologies. I'm really wrapping my hand around it because if you can watch it in 7 mm, I advise you do. It's a great. The screen is absolutely huge. And then it's put to good effect. What you see.
Mm.
But that's from what I think. Only limited theaters are doing it, and I don't know if the price is any different for the tickets.
I don't know.
If you can watch it 7 mm, if you can, then it's not gonna affect it too much. The digital and all that.
Mm.
If you watch it, if only thing the landscapes would just be a bit smaller.
Mm.
That's it. But you still get the same effect. It's just, I think it really, yeah. If you're really into like the old cinema, style, and you're like that, then you're gonna enjoy the hell out of it.
Well, if you're curious about something.
Yeah, if you're curious about certain, it looks fantastic. It sounds fantastic. The digital, by all means, it's not gonna ruin the movie. It's just it's nice. The movie looks nice. I think we didn't really help much with the 7 mm, but I was really excited to watch it in 7 mm.
Okay.
70 mm.
Okay, so then, or as we talked before, do you want to just talk positives, and then just go off on there, or
Yeah,
do you want to?
I will start off with the positives. One thing I did like was cinematography.
Okay.
They do a great job showing the landscape, and it really puts you into perspective of how large the operation was. Getting
All 30,000.
all 300,000 people out.
Oh, sorry, 30,000, 300,000.
300,000. But it also shows you how, I guess, it really puts things into perspective. It's a large operation, but it's like that. It's like when you see people from far away and they look small, they seem so insignificant.
Mm.
So is that nice visual storytelling where it just seems like, because they even battle throughout they battled through it within the movie. Just we don't know if we can save all these men, and it's done really well in the movie. It's not going to be the most informative discussion because I really do need to think. I really do need to think about this movie because this is one more where I do want to get it right. I am going to see it again. I'm going to watch it in digital, see if that changes anything. But the I guess should we get spoilers, I guess?
No, but no, the only spoilers is the outcomes of the soldiers, but we can talk about more of the.
That's historical,
No, but how many people do you think actually know the history of Dunkirk?
That's true, I guess. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, then me either. And so from what this movie showed, it didn't, to me, it didn't look like the only big deal was that, okay, all these soldiers are stuck here, we need to get them out. Like that's the main problem I learned from the movie.
Right.
But then that to me that's all I think that's what happened.
Right.
Like I don't like, is that it? Is the big story just that okay, all these soldiers, we need them to get off the beach. We need to evacuate them.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's it.
Well, no, the issue was that
So you do know more.
the country can't, the government can't help them.
Mm.
As you find in the movie, is that there aren't many military ships to evacuate them, and they have to. Which the movie doesn't really do a good job. That's does an alright job of kind of playing with that, like, how can we do this? It's not stretched out enough to where it gets really good, but it's not so bad where it just kind of feels throwaway. But it's just sort of there.
Mm. Well, if you're having difficulty, maybe I can help you, like, trying to think about this.
Yeah, I'm having
Okay, we could talk about the characters.
Yes.
What do you have to say about them? Because what I said, we knew very little about them, but besides one that we get some backstory on, which is the kid, and then the kid with the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the kid and.
Here's how I gotta start from. The movie uses very little dialogue,
which I thought was great,
which is
to some degree
fantastic, and was. I think helped this movie is that you don't really know any of their names. They have no names.
Do they?
They have none.
But besides them saying, "Are you French? Are you German?
Are you French? They have no names.
Yeah.
Which I really like, because you only get to know more about them at that event, not before, not after, just at that event.
Okay.
So I think that really helps the movie. I think the performances are really good. There wasn't really a bad one.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I would say there's the one that I wish they would have done more, and that would have been the guy they pick up from the waters, the Shivering Man.
Oh yeah, him.
Yeah. Because he's a really good actor.
And that, to be fair, that's actually, we just found out that's actually his name. Shivering Man or Shaking Man?
Shivering Man.
Shivering Man. That's
Sure.
that was the character's name. Okay, go.
Yeah. That actor is really, really good, and he's underused in this. Mark Rylance was actually really good in this. The old man.
The boat.
Yeah, the boat one. Yeah,
okay.
I really liked him because he's sort of the embodiment of, like,
the people.
Like an old British guy, an old British.
Okay.
Like, he really, like, he's like, we got to do this, and you believe him. Like, his acting really makes you believe that, like, he really wants to help, at any cost. So he was really good in it. Tom Hardy, you don't know he was in it.
No, in the beginning, in the beginning, I didn't know who he was. It took me some time, but I figured out, okay, that's Tom Hardy, and and I thought, oh, that's great. I love Tom Hardy. Okay.
And he did really good in this only because you can really tell off from his eyes, and he's very good at using his eyes, because he's wearing a mask, and you don't really see his face too much. And then at the end, I guess.
No, at the end of what?
When you,
with what happens to him?
When you finally see him, see his face.
Oh, his actual full face without the mask.
It's actually, like, without everything. It's actually nice. Like, there's meaning to it. So, and that's just for people who couldn't recognize him. They're like, boom, Tom Hardy. I'm like, yeah, Tom Hardy. I was like, oh. Although I will laugh. I was gonna laugh at the fact that he was wearing a mask again.
Yeah,
his voice sounded someone
and in a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah, and it was like, it felt like Bane all over again, but not as. It was appropriate in this case. It didn't go a bit silly with Dark Knight Rises, where he was just mocked to all hell.
Okay, we can move on from that.
Yeah.
Hey, what about the other guy who was in who we started off with from the city, then goes off to the beach.
It helps that he really is young, because they did recruit just kids for the war, so you just sort of see him fresh face, and it's a nice. I think that's what I like about this movie too, is that you follow people of different ages. You follow the kids, you follow Mark Rylance's character, he's old, and then you follow the Shivering Man. I know he has a name, but I don't know what it is.
What about Tom Hardy though?
Tom Hardy as well, like, they're middle age, like, you get the full range of characters, and you start to see the children especially, like, they see the most the brutality of Dunkirk much more than any of the other characters, which I think really hammers the point home of just survival.
But from what we saw, it from what we saw in Dunkirk didn't look like a horrible city to be trapped in. Well, to me, like from what we saw at the beginning, he's in there for a few minutes and then he gets out,
No,
and then the rest of the movie he's
I don't mean brutality where like the place is in shambles. Like
okay.
you know,
Then help a lot right there. Yeah.
I meant more in the sense of the experience of war. Not simply just like being there like a bomb lands on a town and you see the kind of like Wonder Woman, you know, when the town gets bombed and it's like, oh my god.
But the thing is, like, I think in Wonder Woman when that happened, I cared about those. I cared much more about them than I did about these soldiers. But that's me. Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, and I did kind of like that because I was wondering. I was getting like a Saving Private Ryan vibe where it was like, are they gonna have a shootout in the town, in the city or whatever the building? And they don't. It all takes place on the beach, on the water, and in the sky. And I think it really hammers the point home is that we don't. The point, the whole focus of the movie is like, we gotta get him out of here. We gotta get him out of here. So like, whatever else happening in the background is happening in the background. We don't care. And then you kind of see how that shot of just seeing all of the people, all of the men at the beach. I think kind of shows you that, like, in a way they're defeated. You know, if you have an army that big, you know, how do you fail? You know, how do you lose? So kind of it's like, you know, to see that many people leaving, in like in defeat, it's like, you know, that I think that it does just as good a job as just seeing like a town bombed. Like you realize, you know, people are losing. You know, same thing here. You know, people at the beach. You know, gotta get them all the hell out of here. I'm trying to think of what else. I will say the pacing sometimes throws me off in this movie because sometimes something's exciting happening and then you cut to something else and it's building to that. Like he's all trying to connect all these moments and sometimes he does it well and sometimes he cuts from something pretty exciting to something kind of not. So then you have to wait for it to get excited again, and then when it all clicks, you're like, oh shit! But it takes a while for you to get excited again.
Yeah.
That's the pacing is an issue in this movie. Like, not to the point where, well, I can only speak for myself. Not to the point where the movie's outright boring, but it does test you. Whether you're like it excites you, and he cuts away from it, and then you get excited again, and then he goes back to the exciting bit, and then cuts back to something not exciting.
Yeah, but I could say that I wasn't bored. Like that's something I was thinking about. I think 20 minutes or 30 minutes into the movie, I'm like, nothing really big has happened, but I'm not bored, and I'm glad I'm not bored because I was worried that might actually happen.
Right.
Yeah. Luckily it did.
That's right. I can't. That's what I'm saying. Like I have to see it again, only because the non-linear structure really threw me off, and it was and what I was having difficulty with was telling the time, because they say, you know, by plane it's an hour, by boat it's a day.
I was confused by that.
And by that is a week. So I was like, is it a week to, you know, to get out, to go to Dunkirk, or is that like before, like, you know, all the timelines connect. So I was like, I was like, well, an hour from one, like an hour away, like an hour flight.
Yeah, that whole time thing confused me so much for like the first hour, because I didn't know what they meant, and I did not know what he meant until stuff started happening that I recognized, and recognized in terms of the timelines.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I need to see it again, because that threw me a curveball. And what's funny is that it's not a complicated, like, oh, it's like, you know, Memento, and you go back and you like, gotta see it again. It's just I wasn't really expecting it. And I guess what doesn't help it is just that because it's all sky and sea, it all looks alike. Like the only time you can tell the difference is when it's literally daytime, afternoon, or night.
You're gonna get one nighttime, right?
Yeah, one nighttime. Yeah. But like you can at least, you know, oh, like it's somewhere different, like someplace different, sometime different. But the rest of it is just it's all ocean and it's all sky. So you sort of go, is this earlier or is it not? Is it later? So that's why I need to see it again, because that really does affect you know, the movie of the movie.
Okay. What else are we talking about? This was a cinema. I thought the cinematography was great, but was that a a big character in this movie in terms of showing us?
I think it is because it's it's big when it needs to be, and then it's pretty close, like compared to like I guess when anytime the plane flies by the beach,
Mm.
like you see how big the operation is, how many men and all that.
Mm.
Well, compared to when let's just call them the boys, just the three
Oh, the boys.
the three boys we follow.
Mm.
When we see them get into the ship for the first time and they're eating jam on toast, it gets very tight. Like the camera follow all that. So it does a good job of changing. How can I say it? Changing space. Is that a good way to say it? Like when it's big, it gets really big. It shows you how huge, like the ocean could be, the sky, and all that. Then when it gets when it almost claustrophobic, it does a really good job of not, especially the scene in the boat where they're getting shot at. That's a very good job of showing you how the limited space it is compared. I will say though that the movie kind of tricks you with the cinematography, and in the sense that at the beginning when you follow the kid and the camera follows, they're not editing, and throughout the rest it's just sort of leave the camera there. There's no following, like just leave the camera here and then just, not necessarily, because you do follow them. There is handheld because you do see the camera shake, but not to the extent at the beginning where it was almost all one take and running away. And I guess maybe the way the movie looks is good, but maybe the cinematography could be a bit stale because it's just big frame.
It could be a bit stale.
A bit stale.
Oh, it could be a bit
stale.
Okay.
Because I really like the film because you follow the characters, and here after that it's just place the camera here, and then it's all in the front. But then again, maybe that was the point because there's a lot happening in front of the camera. So maybe that was the point. But I was very excited when you see at the opening when the camera follows the kid, and you're like, that's exciting. And then for the rest, it's not. It's just sort of there. That's the way I can put it. The sky scenes, like when the planes, as awesome as they are to look at, I just realized there's really nothing that's interesting on the sky.
Bad planes.
Yeah. No, in the sense that
Anthem Hardy.
Like the scenes where you're shooting are cool, but other than that, it's like they're in the sky. It literally feels like they're in the sky. At least they're on the boat. There's things happening.
Yeah.
With the old man, with the young man that's with him, with a soldier in the beach. It's the beach. That's where the most action's happening. And at the sky, I guess it's a moment's rest. To get, but like you said, there's not a lot of big things that happen.
Yeah.
Like there are big things, but there's sparse. And then the airplanes. It sort of feels like we already come down a bit. I got a bit bored of the airplane scenes, I will admit. Like it was just sort of.
My thoughts. I thought they were fine. That's a lot of my thoughts on this.
I don't think I can really talk well about this.
Huh?
I'm having difficulty talking about it because I really do like it, but I really need to see it again because I need to piece it all together.
And what are you having trouble with? Trying to remember the movie?
No, I remember the movie well. It's just how it plays out. Like the structure, the narrative structure of it. Because I can tell you the acting's great because it is. They all do.
The acting's great. Cinematography is great.
Great. The editing it's good. It cuts.
I thought it was just fine. Like editing did its job.
Yeah.
What else? Like
you know what?
Could you see that that this was directed by Christopher Nolan? Like, were there some of his signature stuff that he does in movies? Like, was that in here, or is his signature work in what he puts in the world? Similar to what he
I
did to
think
Batman.
besides the narrative structure of the film,
Yeah.
this is his least Nolan movie ever.
Okay, similar to Edgar Wright and Baby Driver.
This is his least Nolan-like film.
Okay.
Because the thing that surprised me was that there wasn't as much gore in this
Okay.
film.
Like, is he known for gore?
No,
Oh.
but
We're speaking of war movie.
because it's a war movie, and also a lot, his action scenes are a bit violent, and the one scene I go back to is the Joker with the pencil scene.
Was that violent?
Yeah, the dude got fucking stabbed. I compare that to like John Wick, where the dude stabbed. You see the blood and it's fine, but you see without the blood, and it's a little bit more intimidating, I think.
Okay.
And I was surprised. Like the only time I thought this movie kind of was like, oh shit, was when soldiers are abandoning ship, and they're covered in oil, and the plane crashes and oil catches fire, and there's this crazy scene where there's a soldier trying to stay underwater as much as he can, and he can't hold his breath, and he rises up and he screams due to the fire. Like I was like holy shit, it's like that was to me that was more violent than anything in Hacksaw Ridge, because it was a bit. I really didn't think, just because if anyone with Hacksaw Ridge, it was a bit over the top at times. I would say the action is better than Hacksaw Ridge though. The action is. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not a typical war movie.
I know it's not.
It is not his most Nolan movie.
Okay.
Besides the narrative structure, so I'm having difficulty comprehending it. It's like another war movie I've seen. Like the only time you can say it's a war movie is right at the beginning. That's war. After that, it's just. It felt like The Great Escape, where everything's just planning just to get out.
Oh, but also, since you brought up, I guess was that your favorite scene then? The fire and the water.
No, it wasn't my favorite scene, but it's the most memorable one because it was like okay. Oh shit.
Like I guess the scene, the parts that made me go holy shit was every time we heard the planes, the enemy planes coming down.
And you just hear it, you don't see it. You just hear it.
You just hear it, and because in the theater that we were, the speakers were loud.
Oh my God.
So when they flew down, I'm like, oh shit! Like I was terrified for them. Like I felt that, like, oh damn, here they come. Like every time I heard that, I knew it was just something bad was gonna happen. So I think that was my favorite.
The sound is fantastic in this film, because when it gets loud,
Plus the theater we were in, that was great. That was great sound.
And that's the one thing I did like about this movie, is that the sound plays a visual cue, like especially the bullets in the boat. You don't see the bullet, but you just hear it.
And you see it.
You see the bullet hole.
The damage.
Yeah, you see it, and you're like, oh shit, like shit's going down. So the audio really needs to be commended. Like this, it was fantastic. This isn't a character movie.
And what is this movie?
This is
cinematography movie.
No, I don't mean I mean.
No, I'm just shooting here.
Because I mean in the sense character, because there really isn't much to know about them other than they need it. They're trying to survive. All that. It's kind of like, how can I say? It really is people just trying to survive. Like survival. I know they've been advertising, but this really is survival, in the sense that you don't know anybody's name really. They're just soldiers that are just trying to survive.
And if they do mention names, you will forget about them.
Yeah, you will forget about them. That's what I'm saying. It's more.
It's quickly said, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like here.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Then you don't really get to know the characters as deep as maybe you like.
I need for me. I need more.
But I think they do characterize the character in the sense of how they react to the action. Like the one scene that springs to mind is when they're in the boat eating the jelly toast, and Harry Styles, the guy from One Direction, he tells the other guy, he goes, "Oh, where's your friend?" He goes,
Wait, what?
Yeah, Harry Styles, One Direction.
Which guy was in One Direction?
The one that was accusing the guy of being German.
So he was the one. So he was the one I said that was in a band.
Oh yeah, that was him. I was talking about the main dude.
No. All I told you, was okay. I thought that guy was gonna be. I thought that the guy from the band was gonna be our main lead because of the advertisement stuff I've seen. Or advertisement in terms of interviews. Because for a lot of interviews he was the one that they interviewed. So I assumed he was the lead actor, but now I know why they interviewed him more, because he was from
One Direction.
What the hell?
Oh yeah, okay. They're in the boat. They're eating their toast. And Harry Styles tells the guy, "Where's your friend?" He goes, "He's looking for a way out." And you see him, he's waiting, because they don't really explain. The guy just deviates from the line, and you just go, what the hell is he doing? Then when the guy says it, he goes, "Oh, in case shit goes down, he wants to escape." And then you see that, and then you see it every other time that he's a very he's out. He wants to survive. And that scene again, when he's about to jump ship, he decides not to. He's like, all right, I gotta go back. So they are characterized, but they're not. It's not like personality. It's not like, oh, he's joyful, he's cynical. It's just more. I think that's the way. You don't know them by personality. You just know them by how they react.
No, that makes sense.
I guess by their actions. Like Harry Styles, he's like, oh, that guy's a German. The guy who's accused of being German, he's a very stoic person. He's just doing himself. Then the main guy, he tries to help. You see him, at the beginning when he helps carry the stretcher, and then when he's talking to the guy, and then you see he wants to. He's very different to the rest because he wants to survive, but he wants others to survive as well. Well, others are just for themselves. He was the very one who's like, no, I want to help as much as I can. They're archetypes in the sense. Very usable. You know who they are. You know what they do, and that's it. That's all you need to know. I guess. So, yeah, don't go into this movie expecting character driven, because it's not. It's just it more plays on the I guess, how can I say it? I don't know how to explain this movie too well.
Jen, you think of anything else that you would want to talk about, or something you like, something you didn't like?
I didn't like. I wasn't a big fan of the plane scenes. Like when there was an action.
You said that.
Apparently, it was fine. Maybe it was just us, but it was difficulty hearing them talk at times.
Okay. No, we said that also, but.
I'm just wondering if that's just us. Like we just couldn't, or if it's a major problem. Like yeah.
No, I think I couldn't hear them because they were talking too fast.
Oh. Yeah, I couldn't hear them too, because like same thing happened in Interstellar where people were complaining that they couldn't hear the actors.
No, I could hear everything clearly, especially with those speakers. The problem was just that they must have said it very quickly with their dialogue.
Yeah.
Because I remember specifically there were two lines of dialogue that were jokes that you got, but I didn't get.
Right.
And then it was either because it wasn't fun. Well, to me, it wasn't funny. Or to me, either I didn't understand it in terms of what they said, or it was funny and I couldn't hear them because they said it too quick.
Right. This is here's the best way I could put this movie. This is the opposite of Baby Driver.
Really? I thought this was similar.
More okay. Two sides of the same coin.
Okay.
Where Baby Driver, I thought I liked it, and the more I thought about it, and the more I think about it, the more I thought about it.
You did not like it.
I enjoyed it less.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a good movie. Here with Dunkirk, I do enjoy the movie. The more I think about it, the more I like it. But I need to see it again on why I like it. Because with Baby Driver, the first time we talked, I didn't really or when we didn't record it, I didn't really give good reasons why I thought it was just okay, why I had difficulty. And then same thing here. It was just. I'm not saying it's the greatest movie ever, by no means.
No way you're saying that.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying I need to see it again on why I do like it. And if you know, it could be a baby driver. Like, you know what? Maybe I'm just bullshitting myself. I see it again and I like it less. But
that could be the case.
That could be the case. So that's why I want to get in a second viewing. That maybe the things I like aren't really anything worth liking. That's I want to get a second viewing of this and give a better opinion on this. That's why I was a bit hesitant when we were recording, because I'm like, I don't really know what the fuck to say, other than like cinematography is good, the actor is good, and then like basically what we all say like every time, like, you know, and I can't stress it enough. The structure of the film really threw me off. I was just not expecting that, and it was just, and then it was me playing catch up with the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's why I want to get in a second viewing. I guess that's all I really have to say.
I think that's all we have to say about it. For now.
For now.
Unless
I was thinking,
unless you're interested in doing another
that's what I was
another
saying.
discussion about this.
I recommend that we do it again.
And then we could just like try something new with it, of like second viewing or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's all you got, you're
All you
gonna
got?
end it.
Go watch this movie though.
Go watch it.
Go
Yo,
watch.
bro, go watch this movie.
Go watch this movie. This is a good movie. Watch it in 70mm if you can. IMAX 70mm if you can. That's all I got.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Goodbye.